Welcome to a Sunny Hirsch election special. I'm your host, Avi Myers. This is pretty much the same thing we do with the Northtown News Magazine, the exception being that we just have more guests than we have slots to fill. We want to make sure everybody gets on TV. If you go to our home webpage at ntnm.org, you'll be able to find all the different times for all the different election specials, which will air throughout Cook County and the city of Chicago. You know, there's going to be some great exposure there. Jewish Chicago is on the streets. And, you know, we hope, and whether you participated or not, the issues are available free throughout Chicagoland, so make sure you pick one up. Actually, if you're seeing this on YouTube, you still have time to participate, although time is running very short. It is a pleasure to introduce you to somebody who is running for judge of the Circuit Court of Cook County, somebody that Ed McElroy, one of my all-time favorite PR people, brought to my attention, and that's Frank Wojcik. How are you?
Bill Wojcik.
Oh, Bill, I'm sorry. I did that again. I apologize. A pleasure meeting you. Tell us about your background. Are you originally from Chicago?
Abby, I've lived in Chicago or the suburbs all my life. I grew up the near south side of Chicago in Brighton Park. I'm the sixth of seven children. Grew up in the back of the store near Kelly Park, if you know where that is, near Archer in California.
Right. What kind of store did your parents have?
They had a small stationery store and sold toys and school supplies to the Kelly High School kids. So literally, I lived in the back of a toy store. So it was a lot of fun for us as kids.
And college?
After St. Ignatius High School, graduating with the Centennial class in 1970, I went to Northern Illinois University.
And you got your BA there? You got your law degree there?
I got a BS in science, and believe it or not, Avi, I started out at Northern as a physical education major. So coming to the law was a long journey for me, as my original vocation was to be a mentor and teacher and coach for high school kids. I was involved in a fairly serious accident in the early 70s, and physically that caused me to rethink my career choices, and I decided on the law, and I think in the long run it was, in looking back, it was a great decision.
And what law school did you graduate from?
I graduated from John Marshall, the John Marshall Law School in Chicago in 1980. So I've been practicing almost 36 years come May 1st of this year.
Very good. And have you been in private practice? Do you work for the city, the state?
I think my candidacy for judge is somewhat unique in that I have been a sole practitioner for the past 35 years. So everything I've done on my own, not with a firm, small or large, not with the state's attorney's office. So everything I've done, all my accomplishments, good or bad, are all my own. And we also, open up and take out the garbage at night.
That's part of being a small businessman. I come from a long line of small businessmen, as apparently you do, too.
You understand, then, yes.
Yeah, very much so. It's like the glamorous part of the publishing world is sweeping up and throwing out the garbage after everybody leaves. The glamorous world of publishing, what can I tell you? At what point, when did the idea of becoming a judge first occur to you?
You know, Avi, it's interesting. I've had the privilege of trying many cases, handling cases for many seriously injured people. And it's a privilege to represent those who are seriously injured and their families. You know, people come to your office, quite often they're in distress. Oftentimes the breadwinner is injured. There's no income coming in. And you have that solemn responsibility as a personal injury or medical negligence lawyer to make things right. And you do that, you have to have a passion in order to do that well. And I feel as though I've developed a passion for severely injured people. And so that's what we've done. And we've been fortunate and blessed to be successful these many years. And in thinking about these judicial vacancies that came up during the summer, I made the decision that it's time to give back. And although private practice is more lucrative, I decided that it's time to serve the public. I have something to offer. In my view, I have 35 years plus of experience and a unique sort of experience because we've handled cases large and small, and as I say, I've handled them as a sole practitioner, which I think is a unique perspective that you don't often see on the bench at the present time.
No, you don't. As a matter of fact, you're the very first person I think I've ever interviewed out of probably over 100 people so far that are running for judge that didn't, that weren't involved with the government or a law firm.
Right, and that's the most traditional way that people come to the bench with a background in the state's attorney's office or public defender's office or the attorney general's office. So I think my perspective is unique. That governmental background perspective is already out there in significant numbers. The private practice bar, especially the solo private practice bar, is not widely represented on the bench at this time. We hope to make a change in that fact.
Well, there I want to wish you a lot of luck. You're definitely heading in that direction. I'm sure you have a website.
We have a website which is Wojcik Law. That's WOJCIKLAW.com, and a campaign Facebook page, which is William S. Wojcik for Circuit Court Judge, or Cook County Circuit Court Judge. I'm not all that familiar with Facebook, but I'm becoming familiar with Facebook now that we're involved in this campaign. So I'm learning the social media lingo as we go.
It's definitely a very valuable political tool. I want to thank you very much, Frank Wojcik. Bill Wojcik. I kept doing that, and I don't know any Frank Wojcik
William
either.
S. Wojcik, punch 226. Thanks, Abby.
226. Thank you very much, and thank you, Ed McElroy. Thank you, Sonny. Bye-bye, everybody.